Hey everybody, Jason with Davis Shop Works. Listen, I'm kind of not real happy with the switch box I built for this thing. So this is the current switch box. The issue I have with it is whenever I go to turn it on, it kind of shuffles around a little bit. So I decided to make a new one. So here's the plan. I'm going to use one of these Nylite, I think it's 3.5 inch magnets, and it fits well there. It's pretty strong. It's got this rubber coating over it, which is pretty cool. That box that I built was built out of lost foam method of fiberglass, which is where you take foam, you create what you want, and then you glass it over and then gel coat it and all that. So the switch that Nylite makes is this switch here, which comes out of this housing pretty easy, so I'll have to figure that out. But it mounts to a 7/8 bar, which would be like for a motorcycle or something. But it has the connector that is needed. And so I went up to my Tractor Supply and I got a reducer bushing for the tractor pins, because this was the cheapest. They had a bushing that would have fit for the size. Like the bolt could have went all the way through and this thing would have been right on here and probably would have been done, but that piece alone was 22 bucks. And so I came up with another plan though, is I'm gonna attach this bolt, I'm gonna weld it to it, and then I'm gonna bolt, using that bolt there, I'm gonna bolt this to the magnet. I'll have a little bit of adjustability and it'll bring the switch a little closer to me. That bushing there is going to go right here on this bolt, and I'm going to weld it to it and smooth everything out, make it all pretty nice, and attach, paint it, attach it to this, and then that is going to become the new switch. So that's the project in a nutshell. So usually I'll show as I build, but I went ahead and finished that bracket up. I just welded it and then sanded it with the 60. You can see the bolt, and then this is the collar here. I've painted it. So gonna let it cure and then try to bolt it up and see what happens. Good. Okay, so this, as I stated about overbuilt, this thing is really awesome. It's got 2 magnets in here. This cube is fiberglass. It was done with a lost foam method. I drilled this hole, and that's how I got all the foam out of it. So this is actually a foam mold. And the entire thing is glass. I mean, it's thick glass, and then it's got gel coat on it. It's not totally finished because this was the first, you can see some of the injuries, we'll just call those, from the first gel coating activity. The second gel coating activity would have fixed this. Now, I didn't worry about fixing this because there was a snowstorm coming, if I remember correctly, and I really wanted my lights to work. And I was excited. I mean, the switch worked. It was very snug. I made it very snug. And that was what was cool. But the problem is I attached a piece of felt here and some of the epoxy. Steph, if you could kind of get that, you can kind of see the epoxy. And the felt is smooth anyway. So I'm not going to blame it totally on the epoxy. But I will say this, it rotated. So this was the steel. It would rotate as I flipped the switch. I really hated that. But what I did build this for was so that I had spots for 2. And I have the template on my toolbox area so I could go ahead and drill the second hole and make the notch and add a second switch. Plenty of room in the back. And Nylite's connection system is proprietary, or maybe not. I mean, maybe all products are made with this connection. I don't know. But at any rate, I was still impressed. I had done that, and that was great. I'm not going to chalk it up to a bad experience or anything, but what I will say is Nylite's magnets, I'm very happy with. I used 2 on the ROPS. What I ended up doing was the magnet, the fender washer, the steel. This was the smallest bolt that I could get at Tractor Supply, is where I bought that bolt from. It's a metric M8 bolt, and that's what goes in these. The washer was an M8. As you could see in here, possibly, I think, Steph, you'll be able to tell, I put a O-ring that I had sitting around. I just did that to kind of help me with a little bit of the adjustment. That really isn't necessary. You could snug this all down. I felt right here across the face of where that bolt is. I don't know, can you see all these little magnets? So you guys can see these magnets here, I'm sure. There's a lot of little neodymium magnets in there. This center one is not a magnet. That's where the boss of the threaded boss of the bolt is. It is a metric bolt. Like I said, it's an M8 by, I think, 1.25. But the bracket and everything is what really got me. And so I'm able to attach the light switch. It uses the same, you know, I'm going to call it proprietary connector. I mean, I know I've seen these connectors before. And it's Nylite brand. And so that was cool. And so my thought process is this will stick on here. And then let's say I take off the loader, which we do plan on doing all summer long. I don't have any plans on having a loader on it. That way she can mow, I can mow. We're not worried about the loader. This will be able to attach itself to the loader bracket without any issue. And to be quite honest with you, as you can see here, I'm sliding it in. It's actually in the loader bracket now. So literally I could leave it there. And as you could see with the arm, I'm able to adjust that light switch a little bit. And I'm much happier with that, to be quite honest with you. Matter of fact, I might just leave it right there. I'm kind of shocked that went as nicely as it did. And it always run a connector kind of between the pins. It'll never get pinched because there's enough steel in there. So just something to think. I will say this much about it is, if anybody's interested in building this, I will gladly give you the measurements. Kind of let you know what I did. You can see kind of part of the build video in this video. And that's where I'm going to end it. If you guys want it, just put it in the comments below. And I always make a second video, maybe with some measurements and things like that. A couple of changes, because there were some things I did that were for a different design that then quickly went haywire. So we can easily fix that together, get you guys on the right track. But otherwise, I think this thing works awesome. Like, subscribe, please share, help others. There's plenty of more content to come. I work on all different things, all different places, and as long as they'll let me film and we can get it to you guys, I'm going to show you guys how to do all kinds of sorts of things, not just with the GC1725M, which I'm very proud of, and not just with the the 1989 Compact 19. We're going to do all kinds of stuff together, so stay tuned, like, subscribe, appreciate it, and over the top of everything else, have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself.